It's crazy how fast things can change, especially with famous people where looking good is everything and being loyal doesn't last forever. Meghan Markle just got a harsh lesson about that. You'd think a long friendship with Serena Williams would mean something. Years of supporting each other in public, going to each other's weddings, doing interviews together, but no. When it was time for Serena to plan a special girls' trip to Lake Como, Meghan's name wasn't even on the list. And that wasn't an accident. According to people who know, this wasn't just about bad timing or a missed text. It was sending a message. The trip was small and personal, with carefully chosen people. A few famous women who all had the same calm, successful attitude, and most importantly, no drama. Emma Thynn, the Marchioness of Bath, was there. Yes, the same Emma who smoothly handles British high society, made history as the first black Marchioness, and somehow stays famous without trying too hard. She's everything Meghan once tried to be. Royal-like, mixed-race, classy, but without all the problems. While Meghan's name is always connected to drama, Emma stays above it all. That difference wasn't missed by anyone. Sources say Meghan did try to reach out. She called Serena. She called some of the other women, even left voice messages. But the answers were either nothing or very polite rejections. And their reason was they were keeping this trip very small and personal. That's the Hollywood way of saying you're not wanted. The worst part was, apparently, during the trip planning, one of the women joked, "You can't party with us." Just a joke, they said. But when word got out, it hurt Meghan like a slap in the face. Because this isn't high school. This is the top level of Hollywood socialites and royal people telling you you're officially out. The fall didn't happen all at once. Meghan's been slowly going downhill, even if she doesn't see it yet. She used to be in a group chat with Serena and other powerful women. But over time, having her in that chat became too much. Every conversation, she'd somehow turn it back to how badly she's been treated. A friend shares good news. Meghan turns it into a story about being ignored. Another celebrates a big win. Meghan makes a comment about how hard it is for women of color to succeed while making it all about herself. Eventually, the chat got shut down. A new one started. She wasn't invited. Behind the scenes, even her closest friends were getting tired. Serena, who had stood up for Meghan more times than she probably wanted to, started pulling away. It wasn't about one big fight. It was more like being worn out. Quiet limits, careful distancing, and who could blame her? Serena's building her business empire, focusing on being a mom, investing in fashion and business. The last thing she needs is to be pulled into another news story because Meghan decided to send a not-so-subtle PR message through a podcast or Netflix show. One of Serena's business partners reportedly said it straight out, "If Meghan's coming, you can forget about keeping things private." That comment stuck. These women weren't looking for drama on their weekend in Lake Como. They wanted peace, wine, maybe a few photos for their private collection, not the Daily Mail. And Meghan found out about the trip through rumors, through stories being told without her name in them. And for someone who's built her entire brand on empowerment and including everyone, there's something painfully ironic about being left out by the very women she once saw as her group. But this wasn't about jealousy or mean girl games. It was a reset, a way of saying enough. Hollywood isn't just about red carpets and photographers. It's like a chess game and every move matters. Meghan Markle used to be a queen piece, boldly moving through the chaos with major friendships, a fairy tale wedding, and global fame. But something changed. Her story, once celebrated as a modern rise through hard work and grace, started sounding more like a broken record. Legal fights, Netflix complaints, Spotify drama, and endless headlines turned what was once sympathy into tiredness. The industry that welcomed her started backing away. Not with drama, just silence. That's how it happens in Hollywood. They don't fire you, they stop calling. Insiders say a big part of the problem is Meghan's need to control the story. Everything had to be framed around her struggle. Every podcast, every interview, every press release seemed to scream the same theme. Misunderstood, mistreated, misrepresented. For a while, that worked. People listened. But over time, it got old. Executives wanted fresh ideas, not recycled complaints. Producers wanted stories, not soapboxes. Even her own team reportedly struggled to keep up with her need to control every detail. Take her Netflix deal, for example. When it first happened, it was pitched as the next big thing. Personal, bold, and impactful. But behind the scenes, whispers started coming out about endless creative disagreements and power struggles. Several projects were quietly canceled. Some scripts were considered too self-focused. A team member allegedly said, "She doesn't know how to make it about the audience. It's always about her." That feedback was brutal. But in an industry driven by connection and being relatable, it was also a death sentence for creative trust. And it's not just the Hollywood crowd that's stepping back. Her old circle from the royal days pretty much disappeared. Relationships that once looked like unbreakable bonds with Oprah, Gayle, Tyler Perry are now distant and professional at best. Some still speak kindly in public, but there's a clear line. No one's rushing to be part of Meghan's next big project. The fear isn't about being pulled into gossip. It's about brand damage. When every move she makes ends up under a media microscope, being connected to her becomes risky. Meanwhile, Emma Thynn is out here playing the long game with precision. She's not chasing press. She's not on Netflix. She's not even trying to rebrand herself. That's the thing. She doesn't have to. Emma moves with purpose, choosing quiet charity, work, elegant appearances, and genuine interactions over viral soundbites. And somehow, she's become the it woman of the moment. Powerful, graceful, and drama-free. People are noticing the difference. Both Emma and Meghan broke racial barriers in traditionally white spaces, but their paths couldn't be more different. Emma embraced her heritage while smoothly fitting into aristocratic life. Meghan, on the other hand, turned every room into a battlefield, us versus them, insiders versus outsiders. Emma earned respect quietly. Meghan demanded it loudly. One got invited to Lake Como, the other got left on read. Serena isn't the only one stepping away. One Hollywood executive allegedly called Meghan a walking press release. Another described meetings with her as exhausting, saying she came with too many handlers, too much spin, and not enough substance. That kind of reputation doesn't just kill deals. It closes doors that never reopen. People want real. They want grounded. And Meghan, with her perfectly crafted victimhood, no longer feels like either in a space where every connection can shape your future. Meghan's losing the one thing she always thought she controlled: access. Not because people hate her, but because they're tired. And tired people don't argue. They just move on. Meghan Markle built an entire brand on being the outsider who broke in. The American actress who married a prince spoke her truth and redefined what royalty could look like. For a while, that story worked. She was bold, emotional, defiant, a symbol for anyone who ever felt left out. But somewhere along the way, the underdog story started turning into a cautionary tale. The same headlines that once praised her bravery now echo with criticism, and not from tabloids alone. Her own peers, the ones who used to champion her, are quietly stepping away. The reality is, Meghan's presence has become the same as chaos. She doesn't just attract attention, she drags it like a hurricane. Lawsuits, exposes, tell-all interviews, PR moves. It's nonstop. And for people like Serena Williams, who are moving into a softer, more refined chapter of their lives, that chaos is no longer worth the loyalty points. When you're building empires in finance, wellness, and family legacy, drama is a problem. That's why the trip to Lake Como wasn't just a vacation, it was a filter. And Meghan didn't make it through. One source close to Serena put it simply: Serena's in her peace era. Meghan isn't. That peace era includes private yachts, business meetings over brunch, low-key charity work, and nights without a single TMZ alert. It's not about being elitist, it's about being selective. And Serena's selection said it all. Emma Thynn, not Meghan Markle, is who you bring when you want calm, elegance, and no PR cleanup the next morning. Emma represents a different kind of power, the kind that doesn't announce itself. She doesn't need to sit across from Oprah to explain who she is. She lets her actions, her poise, and her reputation speak for her. And that's why people like Serena are gravitating toward her. She's the anti-Meghan in the most unintentional way. No press tours, no trauma memoirs, just legacy work and quiet wins. Back in Montecito, Meghan's response to the snub was reportedly a mix of disbelief and PR strategy. She reached out to some of the women from the trip, sent texts, voice notes, maybe hoping for some clarity or to smooth things over, but the replies, if any, were short and polite. One of them reportedly just said, "We're trying to keep things really chill right now." That's not a rejection. That's a freeze out. The deeper sting wasn't just the silence. It was the symbolism. Meghan, who once branded herself as a voice for empowered women, now finds herself iced out by the very women she thought were her tribe. It's not pettiness, it's boundaries. For too long, she's operated in a space where she assumed being vocal and visible was enough. But visibility without vulnerability, without humility, has a short shelf life. In the eyes of the elite, being exhausting is worse than being wrong. Meghan's perceived inability to share space without dominating, it has cost her dearly. Relationships that could have lasted decades have burned out in a few short years. And as her circle shrinks, her moves feel more desperate. New podcast attempts, vague charitable launches, carefully staged photo ops, but none of it sticks. The more she tries to reclaim relevance, the more the silence around her gets louder. Emma's rise isn't just a story of elegance, it's a mirror. One that reflects what Meghan could have been if she'd embraced quiet strength instead of loud resistance. The tragedy isn't that Meghan was excluded from a trip. It's that she's becoming a guest in a world she once thought she owned. And no amount of curated speeches or branded documentaries can change that.